Hi Copic and the Craft Room fans, Michelle Houghton here. I am coloring up a very special image today. This image was designed specifically for me by request by an artist, Michelle Perkett. She sells her images still on Etsy. She has done stamped images for a very long time and now does her own artwork. This particular image she colored or created at my request this past year in order to honor my sister-in-law, Sherry Hill, whom we lost last year. So we have a harvest angel, and this is in honor of her. I am starting up the skin with a very light E50, and then I'm going to add some really light tones of E30 and E31. So the shading is going to be very subtle on her face, but she has some beautiful contours that we can work our way into. Blending those out, and then I am going to add a real slight blush onto her cheek as well. A little R11, and this is going to be super subtle. It's actually going to smooth those colors a little bit and add just a really subtle kind of kiss of pink. And then I'm starting on her hair. We're going for kind of a deep blonde, Y21 and Y23 to start. And then I'll finish with touches of Y26 and Y28. You're going to see me use the exact same color combination on the wings. So I'm going to let you watch that all unfold. I'm going to warm up the yellows a little bit for the sunflowers. I've got the series of Y32, Y35, and Y38. And I'm going to hit all the sunflowers. We've got some on her headband or wreath, and then the flower she's got close to her lips, and then down on the border of the image. I'm going to start the center of the flowers with E23, and I'm going to come back when that is completely dry and add some texture, but I'm going to wait on that. And I'm going to skip over to the leaves. And again, I'm doing pieces at a time. So YG95 and then YG99. The 99 is going to come in basically as a small dot right at the base and center of each leaf. It's going to be hard to see because the image is a little bit larger, sorry. The other small flowers that are in the image are going to go red, and I'm starting with my darkest this time, so I'm going R59, and then you're going to see an R56. This particular color gets very washed a little bit, and so I come back in and actually with an R46, and that's going to warm it up considerably and brighten it up. And by working from dark to light, I've blended as I've gone. So if I want to play around and go back and forth a little, I can, but I don't necessarily need to. Her dress is a huge, broad area, and I'm going to use a series of E's, and I'm starting again with my darkest first. Going E09, then you're going to see E07 and E04, and there's going to be a lot of back and forth. But the first thing I'm doing is I'm laying out the darkest area on those places of the dress. And in particular on the skirt, I'm trying to break that up a little bit so it's not one solid bell. So I am putting a few small waves in the back in particular of the dress. For the sash she has over her arms, I've got a series of YGs, and I'm starting from light to dark again. So YG93, and then I'm going to switch to YG95 and YG97. I'm trying to really stay within a color palette that is very fall-like. The sunflowers was really integral in the image itself and what I wanted to share. And so then the colors I wanted to make sure went along with the rest of that image. Back to the centers of the flowers, I'm going to use 2 E's and kind of dot into those. So on most of them, I start with the E25 and I kind of dot throughout those little centers, and then I come back in with an E29 and dot right along kind of the lower curve of those button centers. I touched really quickly on the stem there with one of my YGs, and then I'm going to color her gloves, kind of a canvas. So E21 is what I started with. E23 and E25 are going to deepen those. I've got a whole series of colors that are going to come in on this watering can, and it's going to start with W1 and W3. And that's my base. Then you're going to see 2 earth tones. You're going to see E95 and E99. And what I'm going for is kind of a rusty metal look. And I appreciate it's not going to be exact, but this is kind of a fun color combination that I've used before and really like the look of. So I'm layering the earth tones right on top of those grays. And then I'm going to use a G20 to come in, and it's going to bleach a little bit and create some of those like rusty looking spots. You can also tone this down by coming over the top again with some of your gray, those 2 grays, and it really has a nice effect. The last thing is this background, and so I'm going to do a portion of it and then finish it because it's going to be the same, but I do it in sections. And this image actually is easy because it's got these kind of 3 major sections behind her, above her, and to the front of her. So I'm using a series of blues. I've got B4 one that I started with, and then B32 and B23. Now, you're going to notice that's not my normal color combination. I usually work kind of out in saturation and value, and this time my saturation numbers aren't lining up. But I found this group to, again, fit the colors that I was using, and it did what I really, really wanted it to do. So I'm going to go back and forth between those 3 blues, lighter in against the angel and darker as it comes outward. You'll see here in a minute the finishing product. I decided to create kind of a wall art instead of a card. I just want to say a special thank you, though, to Michelle Perkett for putting this image together for me. Have a happy, colorful day, all.